What up? It's your boy King Down 225 coming at you with another reactionary video. So hit that like, subscribe, become part of the kingdom. This one for my community. Be one first. I done keep telling y'all, bro. And I'm all good with being friendly, but don't never think we friends. Like, don't ever really think these people really your allies. I said this on many occasions. The people in penitentiaries have told us who they side with. They when the shit pop out, makes us go on the white supremacist side. They don't feel like it's snitching if they go right on a brother. Like all kind of evidence. I tell y'all, like illegal immigration directly affects black economy. Like they be out here talking about black folks don't want to work, they lazy and shiftless. No, we don't want to work pennies on a dollar. We want equal market value, fair market value. Y'all don't believe me. The LA Times wrote this article. In California's largest race biases cases, Latinos workers are accused of abusing black colleagues. But we be the ones out here on some liberal Democrat shit talking about some help the immigrants. Nah, we need to be out here talking about build a wall. Like for real. Like for real, for real. Nearly every day, the one time Ontario warehouse employee said he was stunned to hear racist slur from Latino coworkers. They said it in English, they said it in Spanish, all the time. Recall Leon Simmons, a black father of four, with a deep voice and gentle manner. When they look you right in your eye and call you the N word to your face, that's dehumanizing. 32 miles away from Moreno Valley Warehouse, it was the same store. Another black laborer, Benjamin Watkins, described how a Latino worker called to him, "Hey monkey, hey you," and waved a banana in her hand. Oh, okay, bitch. A group of a group of women burst out laughing. In America's long history, harassment and discrimination against black workers have usually involved white perpetrators, and that remains the case today. But with the rapid growth of Latino population now at 19% in the U.S. and 39% in California, Latinos form the majority in many low-wage workplaces, and instances of anti-black biases and colorisms among them is drawing new scrutiny even as activists in the two community forge alliances over criminal justice and economic development. Like, and I'm one of them dudes that be like, man, black people should get their own shit, and brown people should get their own shit, and then we can like work together on certain things, but we not the same, cause we know what it is. Latinos certainly are targets on job discrimination as well and continue to struggle for equality in the workplace. So fight with the white man, not the black man. Again, but you fight against the black man for the white man. That's how we see it. Cause you think you better than us too. I just got on them Africans. I literally said this last African video I just did about FBAs versus non-FBAs. I'll put a link in the description. And I saw this on my Twitter timeline. I'm like, I'm gonna go look at this shit. But the two largest racial biases cases brought by the federal government in California in the last decade alleged widespread abuse of hundreds of black employees at warehouses in Inland Empire, the state's booming distribution hub for trade between U.S. and Asia. In interviews, black employees said a torrent of racist insults and discriminatory treatment was mainly inflicted by Latino co-workers and supervisors who compose roughly three-quarters of the workforces at the sprawling facilities in Ontario and Moreno Valley. Mayate, a type of beetle, and Spanish slang for N-word, was a common taunt according to interviewers in court filings. U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. I had some dealings with them before when I sued one of my employees about racial practices. You better look a nigga up. I don't play no games when I tell you I'm B1. Nah, you ain't gonna play with me, bro. I'm going to talk to somebody. Well, you need to cut your hair. Oh, nah. That's discrimination. I'm black. You trying to cut my culture. Real shit. This is my life I live. So I'm well affiliated with EEOC. Lawsuits allege that the supervisors at the global medical supplier Cardinal Health and at Ryder Integrated Logistics, a subsidiary of trucking giant, along with their staffing firms, routinely ignored harassment in Spanish and English at their inland employee warehouses. They gave black employees the hardest manual jobs, denied them training and promotions, and failed to take actions despite dozens of complaints according to court filings and interviews. Okay, so you basically telling me the disgusting hard jobs that y'all claim only Mexicans want to do is when they get on, they hire black people to do them jobs? Oh my fucking God. Are you serious? Can't be right. That can't be right, right? Oh, yes, sir, white man. Are you sweet tea? Are we sweet? Are we sweet? Oh, but now you all like, come here, Miyake. Sweet for me. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony. Woo! Many of the black workers were hired through temp agencies. Very believable. When they complained, managers, both white and Latino, retaliated by disciplining them or abruptly firing them, according to the EEOC. Others felt forced to quit because intolerable working conditions created by the hostile work environment, the lawsuits alleged. Don't think a nigga smiling in your face is a trustworthy person. Cardinal Ryder and their tip firms denied the allegations, but as scores of black employees came forward and the EEOC interviewed witnesses, the company settled their cases last year rather than facing jury trials. They settled out of court. Y'all heard that? So they basically admitting they did it. Oh man, y'all can go look at that on your own time. This has got like a voice thing when you're an anti-black co-worker in Latino. So we got music playing. We are seeing an increase in large race harassment cases, said Anna Park, regional attorney for the EEOC Los Angeles District Office. The nature of them has gotten uglier. There's more blatant display of hatred with the N-word, with imagery, with nooses. All the violence you're seeing in the news is manifested in employment context. In a state of as diverse as California, offenders span all races and in ethnicity, goddamn ethnicities. She said 2 decades ago, discrimination was viewed as black-white paradigm. Park said the feeling was minorities can't be discriminating, but it could be Asians discriminated, it could be Latinos discriminated. Regardless of what color you are, you don't get a free pass. Now about 300 workers are gaining compensation, some much as tens of thousands of dollars through the Inland Empire settlement. Carly agreed to pay 1.45 million Ryder and Chemco Staffing Services, which supplied workers for Ryder, settled for 1 million each. The warehouse operators and their staffing firms, including Glendale Temp Agencies and Apple One, which supply workers to Cardinal, must offer extensive harassment training in English and Spanish and submit to stringent monitoring for verbal abuse, biases, and retaliation. Fire they ass. Make it feel how it feel to be really black. You lose your job. Get your ass. You can't get no another job. Los Angeles Times contacted more than 2 dozen current and former Latino workers from Cardinal and Ryder. None agreed to interview. Of course you didn't. Nationwide, EEOC records show prejudice can afflict any race or ethnicity, but black victims predominate. Of course we do. But they think we be whistling Dixie and talking shit and lying. These are facts. That is EEOC number one, like, oh, it's discrimination on job. Well, here we come. Oh, somebody trying to abuse your rights on the job. We're here. And they sue these goddamn companies for like these. This is what they do, and this is what they tell you. Man, black people get discriminated the most. I'm telling you, right? Chinese people get their shit, they'll start talking their shit about us too. Y'all go to the nail shops, man. We very familiar with disrespectful tactics. You ain't supposed to be able to say that shit. I still don't say disrespectful shit about other races because I don't really care about y'all niggas. Like real talk. Over the last decade, the agency has more settlements than 171 race discrimination suits involving black workers, 59 cases involving Latino victims, 12 involving Asian victims, and 6 involving white victims. Like that's black people got more than all the other races put together. Through the agency tracks the race and ethnicity of victims, it does not compile official statistics on offenders, nor are there databases of private cases categorized by perpetrator's race. That makes it hard to gauge the extent of anti-black hostility from Latino workers. For court filings, victims' allegations, and employee records show that in the last decade, about a third of anti-black biases suits filed by the EEOC in Los Angeles and San Francisco's offices involve discrimination by Latinos. About a third involve white offenders, and a third were unspecified, unspecific, probably Africans. The suit against Cardinal Health and Apple One was graphic. Since at least 2016, the EEOC alleged black workers were subject to the N-word by co-workers and managers many times per day, including nigga, bitch, lazy ass nigga, ain't did no work all day, and look at those niggas looking like monkeys, working like slaves, like they should be. Man, the first worker to file a complaint described being called anti-black slur in English and Spanish, facing prejudice from Latino supervisor and being deliberately run over with a cart by a Latino co-worker. Photos taken by the black co-worker showed a woman restroom defaced with the graffiti "Niggas stink up the aisles" and black "Peepo stink," and men's restrooms were defaced with "Nigger killer." In a court filing, Cardinal acknowledged the derogatory graffiti but said it was promptly removed. A spokesman declined to address other workers' allegations, citing the EEOC post-settlement statement. Oh, we ain't got to talk about it because we paid. Cardinal Health and Apple One have put in place measures at preventing discrimination and harassment. Apple One, which placed 1,000 workers at Cardinal over 2 years, said in a statement it did not control the workplace, but has implemented improvements to its policies ordered by the EEOC. Black Tesla employee, y'all go look at all this. This is March 2022. Black Tesla worker employees describe a cultural racism. I was at the breaking point. And we supposed to take it because we the original gaslit people. Because if we complain, they convince you you don't have a right to complain. You being ungrateful. You like, no, bro. They trying to stem that fire that you always had that drove progression. Like you are not, you know what it is, bro. You not gonna treat me like this on a Sunday morning in Relay told Simmons wearing a dashiki revealing forearm tattoos of a mermaid and a panther was perplexed that the abuse at Cardinal Health had come from Latino colleagues. He choked up as he described his ordeal. Growing up in Compton, Simmons had Mexican American friends, and over decades at other jobs, forklift drivers, custodian, security guard, Hispanics, whether they liked you or not, they kept it to themselves. He said, as for the few white workers at Cardinal Health, never no problem with them, he said. Apple One hired him to drive a cherry picker at Cardinal for 14 an hour, but he found black workers were largely kept off the vehicles. Those jobs were given to less experienced Latino workers. Illegals. Even when licensed black workers were first in line, he said. Instead, Simmons, in his mid 50s, was given a harder floor picker job for $12 an hour, on his feet loading boxes headed for Kaiser Permanente Hospital. Temperatures inside the warehouse often rose past 90 degrees, he said. It was 6 days a week. I thought y'all wanted these jobs when y'all come here. What the fuck? Like, this is so funny to me. It was 6 days a week, 14, 16 hours a day. But we lazy black folk, right? Ain't I'm sitting here working with your Mexican ass, you calling me lazy? Included mandatory overtime. He saw Latino workers clock in after 8 to 10 hours. Lazy fucks. Lazy fucks. But they be spinning this narrative, it go the other way though, right? Like, I can say a lot of fucked up shit about Mexicans, but I won't. Like, y'all be talking about we be drinking 40s and fucking Newports. Man, I ain't never seen a more drunk people in my motherfucking life. Do you hear me? Never. Like, you better get your ass out of here by talking about my 40 ounce and go put that 48 pack back. What the fuck are you talking about? Carlos. It was 6 days a week. But when black workers asked to leave after 14 hours, they're off threatened with termination, Simmons said. A Latino supervisor would make me clean up trash while everybody else was sent home.
We are the Fun Brothers. We are full-time content creators.
I asked one of the Hispanic leads one day when I had a load what dock to drop the load off on, and she said in front of everybody, "Are you stupid? Can't you read? It's right there in the sign in front of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5." And then she turned around to the other Hispanic workers, walking off with them saying these damn N-words. So I went to another supervisor and I wrote up a complaint about it. And nobody investigated it. Nothing ever happened, as always. I grew up in a different era, in the 60s. But even I never experienced racism like that, where someone would just say the N-word to your face. You know, back then people would, whisper it or say the N-word behind your back, or when they think you ain't listening or something like that. But when they look right at you, right in your eyes, and call you the N-word to your face, that's dehumanizing. Racism is serious. It affects people and it affects us. It affected you.
After 3 months of complaining, Simmons was allowed to drive a cherry picker, but his pay remained at $12 an hour. He said lower than that of non-black drivers. He grew angry and despondent. They write stuff on the bathroom walls like "Gorilla," "Go back to Africa." The black workers would cross it out 2 days later, be right back. Simmons complained to Apple One and Cardinal managers. He said, but nobody investigated, nobody cared. His Latino supervisor said, if you're up here complaining, the orders are not getting picked. Cardinal officials testified that they received complaints about racial slurs, including graffiti with the N-word, but some emails documenting complaints and their response were erased due to auto deletion policy, even after EEOC charges were filed. Auto deletion policy? Okay, Black workers auto deletion policy. Black workers who complain start disappearing one by one. Simmons said, "We find out they were fired after 11 months. He too was told your assignment is over. No reason was given," he said. By then, Simmons had started going to psychologists during visits. "I started shaking and crying," he said. He was put on antidepressants. Simmons got another job as security guard, but "I had to quit. The racism at Cardinal," he said, "messed me up. Something popped in my head. I was still having night terrors, waking up screaming. Today, diagnosed with PTSD. Simmons is on disability." I know y'all gonna say, "Oh, that's some nigga shit. He just trying to get a check." Man, I've always said black people need to see therapists because we do suffer from trauma and PTSD. Like, y'all don't understand, bro. Like, if they, I don't want to get on that. Anti-black prejudice in Latino-dominated workplace comes as no surprise to scholars of race relations. Tensions between Latinos and black Americans have ebbed and flowed in South California over decades. Researchers point to a shared legacy of slavery in the U.S. and Latino America. An estimated 15 times more enslaved Africans were taken to Spanish and Portuguese colonies than to North America. See, it's bigger than America. Latino attitudes toward black Americans can be tied not only to racism, to colorism, said Pew Research Center analyst Ana Gonzalez Barrera. An issue that also arises among other races goes back to colonial history, caste system. White Spaniards were at the top, black and indigenous at the bottom, and racial mixtures in between. In 2021 survey, Pew asked U.S. Latinos how they identified, and of course we know they say white. We know this. Themselves on the spectrum on skin color from light to dark, and how skin color shapes their daily lives. 4 in 10 of those with darker skin say they experience discrimination or unfair treatment by another Latino. Surprising. The same portion who reported discrimination by non-Latinos, nearly half said they heard racist comments from friends and family about other Latinos. Latinx Files. They need to tackle colorism in our community. Another article you can go read. I'm trying to speed it up because it's been going kind of long. Some Latinos identify as white are seen as white. Gonzalez Barrera said, "Latinos are a complex community, not one community but many." For a forthcoming book, Racial Innocence, Unmasking Latino Anti-Black Biases and Struggle for Equality, Tanya Katari Hernandez, a Fordham University law professor, combined through legal records, interviews with U.S. civil rights leaders and attorneys, and traced the history of Latino workplace discrimination against black people, including Afro-Latinos, highlight scores of court cases. Anti-blackness is a global phenomenon, said Hernandez, who is Afro-Latina. It's uncomfortable truth, but belief in racial heresy is common in Latino communities like it is in others. Her scholarship focuses on issues, she said, because opening your eyes to ways Latinos are implicated is a huge step to trying to eradicate racism. Manuel Pastor, director of USC's Dorothy Equity Dormsey Equity Research Institute, suggested that tensions can flare between Latinos and Black Americans, partially because they compete against each other in low-wage labor markets more than against white and Asian workers. I would agree with that 100%. And you know what really affect that? That bitterness stems? Illegal immigration and people hiring illegal workers to fuck up the economy. Africans don't even come over here and do that. They want the good jobs. But Pastor said the extent of workplace bias is debatable given so many instances of Latino black workers in relationships of respect. Man, I respect them to a certain degree too, but I'm just telling y'all, watch it six. That's because we friendly, don't mean we friends. Just because you feel some way about one person, don't be delusional and think they feel the same exact way about you. You have to be cautious with any relationship you engage in. I'm not saying we can't build relationships. I truly believe, but we can't sit here and act like this shit don't exist. Like they don't side with the fucking conservative party in droves, despite them wanting to be the ones build a wall. Like it's weird. They don't want you in here, but they do because they hire you illegally. And we should be the ones that don't want you in here because you been hired illegally takes money out of my pocket. Then once you get on, you start emulating their very actions and think you can get away with it because I'm a POC. Oh no, you don't. At unionized workplaces, labor leaders are working to bring black and brown employees together to push for better treatment, he said. Many warehouses like Cardinals and Riders are non-union sites with large temp workplaces where employees lack advocates in the event of abuses. In a recent book, South Central Dreams, Finding Home and Building Communities in South LA, Pastor Cole, Arthur Purieta, I ain't gonna even say that, pointing to a growing interracial acceptance and political coalition with black and brown residents living in close proximity. See, that's what I'm saying. We can have our coalition and political and we can work together, but like I'm gonna need y'all to stop running over there with them white folks inside with them. Like, okay, yeah, like man, we just spilled so much of each other's blood, it ain't funny. I'm not gonna sit here and act like black people innocent. Like we ain't fuck with y'all too. But come on, bro. We don't do it like that, man. We don't do it like that. Y'all get on. Y'all just like, okay. But somebody gonna come out here. See, like when they had that beat with China Mac and Charlie White, Charleston White. He saying nigga. I felt Charlie. I'm like, man, don't be coming out here saying nigga. You Chinaman. Like, I don't say nothing derogatory to. I don't call a nigga S ick or C ink. I don't say none of that. I don't say none of that. Cause if you say it fucked up, I fuck with you enough to be like, nah, bro, I ain't gonna do it. Don't be like, oh, you say nigga, I should be able to say nigga. No, but that ain't how I go though, bro. That ain't how I go. That ain't how I go. That ain't how I go. In the Inland Empire, the Warehouse Workers Resource Center is organizing across racial and ethnic lines to push for labor law enforcement. In Los Angeles, nonprofits such as the Community Coalition have built black and Latino alliances to address racial disparities. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center joined with majority Latino Clean Car Wash Workers Center to support each other's economic justice campaigns. See, that's how we should do it, bro. Each community and work with each other. Like I always say, man, if black and brown people work together now, we will both get what we want faster than what we think. Instead of us fighting amongst each other. But I ain't gonna tolerate no disrespect and no attack on my community, just like you shouldn't either. Like if a Mexican come on there and say black people attack people, I'm gonna be like, y'all fucked up for that, black folk. Don't do that to them people, man. But like, don't throw a rock and hide your hand either, bro. You guilty of a lot of shit too. The fate of black people and the fate of immigrant people are linked in the fight against exclusion and exploitation. Lola Smallwood Caselvo Kuvos, a black worker center co-founder. As we look at schools, job, housing, the last thing our communities need to be is dividing and fighting each other. I agree with that 100%. I do. I really, really do. I do. Y'all don't know how much I do. Black and brown people don't need to be fighting each other. That's why I say POC. Even though I don't like that shit. Like I don't really like that shit, but I say it because I want a brotherhood between black and brown and FBAs and non-FBAs. Like, cause at the end of the day, bro, we all got the same agenda. There's one person at the top manipulating all of us. EOC lawsuits against Ryder Chemical Staffing were similar to that against Cardinal Health and Apple One. At Ryder's warehouse, where assemblers packed and shipped medical supplies, black employees were subjected daily to such slurs as N-word, Aunt your mama, Negro flea, fee, ugly black woman, cochina, cookie, pig, cucaracha, cockroach, according to the lawsuit. Black workers described restroom graffiti of a person hanging by a noose. According to the EOC, you see, you know why it's beef in the streets, bro. That's how y'all niggas think. That's why it's beef in the streets. That's why we killing each other. Fuck that. Y'all need to stop y'all people, bro. We gotta get on black people. Shit that we did, man. Y'all listen. Y'all gonna be allies. Y'all want this coalition shit to work together, man. Y'all better check y'all own people. But y'all don't have ability to. Y'all run to. Y'all stood up to them people in your own country instead of fucking bullying my people in this one. And a Latino supervisor who would pull black workers off the production line to clean the cracks in the floor. In the wake of the suit, a Ryder investigation found that several Ryder and Chemical employees had used anti-black epithets and that manager fails to report or document complaints. Ryder acknowledged in the court filing, but the companies denied any widespread issue with discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. Uh, we paid them, so we ain't gotta tell y'all the truth. A Ryder spokeswoman declined to ask a question, instead citing his statement last year blaming Chemco, which had placed 2,500 workers at the facility over 3 years. Oh, yeah, everybody else's fault. Nah, it ain't our fault. The claims in this particular case arose out of unfortunate events between employees of a former staffing vendor. It said, while rider management was not involved, we are taking responsibility because alleged conduct occurred on our premises. Chemco did not respond to requests for comment. Watkins, a soft-spoken but speckled 33-year-old, said he often heard slurs in English and Spanish during 4 years at Ryder. Hispanic workers had their own production line. The black workers had to be on a different line. He said the setup described to the EOC by dozens of others. Into segregation. Really? 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 They segregating us. That's so fucked up and funny. Oh, bro. Y'all really do think y'all white. Oh my God. A former Riders supervisor, Royce Yamaguchi, who is Asian and Caucasian descent, said 90% of the assembly line leads were Latino and would pick Latino workers to be on their lines. Other often excluding black workers, Spanish was the dominant language in the warehouse, and Latinos were favored for promotions. He said black workers were rarely given jobs that could lead to advancement. Yamaguchi said some complained to him about being called monkey and bored by Latino colleagues. In videotape testimony, Walker said Latino supervisor often would let the black workers get water and take often wouldn't let the black workers get water and take back. Man, you out your fucking mind, nigga. I'm going give me some water, go piss. Fuck you think you talking to a nigga? This America. This ain't no fucking backwoods third world. You not gonna, man, you better fire me, bitch. And I'm going to the EOC. Nigga, you better ask them white folks how I be on the job. Man, I wish you would talk about. Tell me I can't take no break. Man, you better get the fuck out. Bro, you don't even know, man. Like, I'm a very passive aggressive person. I don't activate till it come to fuck shit when it come to fuck shit like that. I let a lot of shit slide when it come to my people. But I know the rules and regulations when it come on the job. You can't tell me this, you can't say this, you can't do this. You gotta know, like, I read these goddamn employee handbooks that you give. I'm not your average black. You're not gonna talk to me like that, sir. And I'm ad-libbing with the cursing, and I know how to be professional and still get my message across. I'm gonna give you a instance. You know, I was in a position, lead position in security, and I had a supervisor that was a white man, and I happened to be in a break room with other black dudes. And he come out of nowhere, just, don't you hear me? Just berating me in front of black people, right? I could have went off in the eyes of the black community. I could have went off and smacked them in their face, but I kept my composure, cause I ain't want to be one of them niggas that act a fool in front of other niggas. I want to set an example. But the second we got around that corner, when we was man to man, with no other prying eyes and no other listening ears, I said, if you ever talk to me again like that in front of anybody else or alone, I'm gonna fucking whip your ass. Do you hear me? I hear you. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, man, I'll fuck you up, bro. Fuck this job and you. Don't play with me, man. And that's on, again, I'm going to say that's on God. Nigga don't know me, bro. Then I had another issue with that same man. He pulled that shit again. I went to my what you call it. They're like, man, motherfuckers always trying to tell me, Ken, the director of security. They're like, oh, you got a problem with authority. Man, he said some shit that fucked me up. Cause I ain't think a nigga saw me like he saw me. He said, man, King, you ain't got a problem with authority. He said, you have a problem with authority. You a law. I don't mean to say it like that. You a law soldier. You will follow the directions and order, but you will have a problem with authority when you deem the person over you ain't worthy to be authority over you. That's when you'll have a problem with authority. I'm like, damn. Like, cause you follow directions, you do anything you say, you come on time, you smile, you good customer, you do anything you say. But the second you start seeing this person above you in authoritarian position as problematic, your attitude toward them change. I'm like, yeah, I am guilty of that. I am. Cause how I was taught, my grandfather a pastor. He like, yeah, all they say all sins are the same. He said, but the shepherd has a responsibility to flock, and God holds him responsible for that. So yeah, I might be treated the same, but I'm not treated the same because I'm responsible for God's people. So I take people in lead positions like, but you not gonna lead me. I'm not no sheep, motherfucker. I am not no sheep. I'm a hybrid. I keep telling you, I got one side that's the Christian side. I got one side that's the business side. The Alexander side of me, say my last name, fuck it. Alexander side of me, my auntie message was all these pro black power messages on her wall. You go to her house, you read this shit. She say, man, they business owners on their side, hustlers, shit. Man, I always had this mentality. Like, ain't nobody gonna talk to me on job. I came this bitch looking, I'ma leave looking. Like, yeah, that's what's imbued in me, that kind of shit. So, man, I used to always say, man, I could see a white person get a job in a heartbeat. But motherfucker, you don't know who you hired. You know, I'm a hard worker. Don't get it twisted. I ain't can't nobody complain about my work ethic at all. But I'm not gonna be the one who tolerates no bullshit from you just cause you my boss. I'm not gonna disrespect you. I'm gonna respect your authority. But bitch, you gonna we'll get at it too. I ain't playing with you. I done sued one of my foremen. I don't, man, listen, like, man, y'all don't know what I fight for. Like, I'm not a nigga who gonna get in the shootout who with a black man in the streets. I'd rather give him a pass. But you a bullshit ass white supervisor, I get at your ass. Oh, I get at your ass. In video, read that part. Watkins sought to remove from temporary to permanent status my supervisor had. On video testimony, Watkins said Latinos often wouldn't let the black workers get water to take bathroom breaks. They said, "You're big and black, you can keep working," he recalled. Watkins sought to move from temporary to permanent status. My supervisor had me training the new employees, then I would see the new Hispanic temps be promoted to permanent. They didn't even consider me. Finally, he quit. The treatment, he said, made me feel like I wasn't a human being. After her two-story home on Moreno Valley cul-de-sac, Regina McCorkle described how at the end of each ridership, employees would be placed on the following day's schedule with the next month. She and other black assembly workers would often find themselves dropped from the list. Excluded workers would line up on standby. You couldn't clock in. The 40-year-old mother of seven said, damn, if there were five Hispanics waiting in 10 lakhs, they'd pick the Hispanics first.
We didn't set out just to make great coffee. We set out to make something that would bring out the best.
At some point, the warehouse employees were told to sign a no bullying policy, but that just seemed to make the harassment get worse. I kept complaining, and instead of disciplining the workers, management moved me to another work shift that conflicted with my husband's work schedule. I told them, but it didn't matter. My family was in an uproar. My husband had to quit his job and find a new one to accommodate the shift change, and it didn't even work. The harassment continued on the second shift. That's when I found out that the workers were okay with openly calling me the N word in Spanish. And I had heard it multiple times, and I was referred to it multiple times, but I didn't know what they were saying. During that year, while this was going on, it hit me hard. My self-esteem took a hit. I felt inadequate. I felt so excited about the chance of a permanent position. On one level, I was told I was doing great, that I was going to be promoted. I felt that if I kept going and kept grinding, that I would be protected because I was an asset to the company. But that didn't happen. Oh, I pushed through.
What that lady said and how that lady feels why I always never really felt no loyalty to no company. Because they don't have any loyalty to you, bro. You work so hard sometimes. I done did some of the most derogatory, fucked up things ordered by white supervisors and did it because I got kids to feed. Like, come on, bro. And then they out here talking about people lazy. I had another story. I worked at the Family Dollar. I guess one of the moments when I felt like the authority above me wasn't worthy of me being like this lady on the phone talking to her half black kids, right? Calling them niggas. And I'm like, man, did this bitch just say nigga in front of me? I ain't been here but a week. Asking me to get in a dumpster to step on the trash and push it down. Shit like that. Accusing me of theft. Got me fired for theft. And then the dollar store tried to sue me for the theft. Them motherfuckers was watching me all day after she accused me. I said, man, this lady said, nigga, I complained to the black co-workers, females. Somehow she found out about it. Told the company that I was a thief. Sent a dude. Like, I don't know the game. Y'all niggas, I was in surveillance. I know when the nigga watching me. Sent the dude in the store. Not at work. He just already looking like, internal internal shit or some kind of security team for the company coming in the office watching the camera. He watched me all day. I ain't doing nothing. So he bring me in the office. He say, man, you still and you know why? You man, I know why you been here this whole 8 hours. You been here watching me, and I bet you ain't seen me do shit. He like, yeah. He say, bro, I already know what time it is. I know where this come from. You know that lady called me and said nigga in front of me. I complained about it. And all of a sudden I get somebody watching me on camera talking about theft, right? I already knew I was fired. So he asked me, what you, man, you ain't never did nothing. Man, the worst I ever done in this store was the product that they tell me to go throw away. I don't, if it don't look throwawayable, I keep it. That's what they got me on. Talking about some $60. Them motherfuckers tried to sue me for $60. $60 off of a manager, a white manager, who I was making, like, asking black female workers about. They was all here before me. I'm like, man, she always talk like that in front of y'all. Like, seriously? But sick them people on me. She got transferred to another store. Sick them people on me. And y'all think, oh, racism don't exist because she laid down and busted open for a nigga. Like, fuck you, bitch. Okay? Real talk. That's the really, I tell you, that's what really happened. Like, she just on the phone, blatant. She ain't saying it like, but bitch, I'm not cool with you calling your kids nigga or saying niggas in front of your kids or saying niggas to me and you white. Like, real literally. Like, we not that down. Like, at that moment, I started looking at that like, you white bitch. Every time. I'm still doing my job, but you just tell the energy and the oral just different. Different. I ain't disobeying orders, but I don't really want to chit chat with you like that. Alright, I'm good. Yeah, okay, I'm about to go across on the other side of the store and stock these shelves, alright? After about a year, Ryder promoted. Okay. McCorkle complained to six Ryder and chemical managers all the tenor about the biases and slurs. She said one dismissed the behavior as part of the culture. After about a year, Ryder promoted McCorkle to quality auditor job, but name calling escalated. Latino seemed insulted that a black woman was checking their work, she said. I hope y'all listen to this, black women. Within days of complaining yet again, McCorkle was fired for what Ryder said was performance problems. No one ever told me about a mistake, she said. McCorkle first filed an EOC charge with them under EOC's lawsuit. 115 other black workers were filed with similar allegations. One Leela Turner, a 52-year-old former healthcare nurse in Ryder's parking lot, she said, and other black workers found their vehicles vandalized. There would be milkshakes all over our cars and our tires were flat. There would be urine on our tires. Turners asked managers for security camera footage. They said, oh, it's the angle of the camera. We can't catch your car. Finally, she got permission to park in another spot, part of the lot, far from workers' interests. When Turner was promoted from assembler to shipping clerk. She said managers neglect to give her a written manual that Latinos got to memorize inventory codes. They set you up to fail, she said. Hey, at five warehouses where Turner had worked over the years, 80% of workers were Hispanic, with a small portion of Caucasians and black people, she said. The Hispanics stick together. They make sure that people get ahead. Was there white prejudice? Yes, but not from coworkers, she said, but from top managers who failed to respond. You shuffle me off like it's no big deal, Turner said. You're Caucasian, you don't care. Federal and state officials often hold companies and their temp agencies to be joint employers. Executives can't evade penalties by blaming their staffing firm, said the EEOC part. You don't get to stick your head in the sand. You don't get to you're on the hook because you control the work. Staffing firms are also issuing sweeping lawsuits. The California Civil Rights Agency filed in February against Tesla on behalf of thousands of black workers. The Department of Fair Employment and Housing cited a decade of complaints of discrimination and harassment at electric vehicle making Fairmount factory. Racial slurs in English and Spanish were aimed daily at black employees by co-workers and supervisors. Black workers were given the most difficult physical jobs, the lawsuit alleges. Tesla hired most workers through 14 temp agencies to avoid responsibility, it asserted, and declined to investigate complaints from workers. Tesla called the suit misguided, saying the company strongly opposed all forms of discrimination and harassment. In a separate case, the federal judge in San Francisco in April ordered Tesla to pay a black employee elevator operator $15 million after injury found his Mexican American supervisor had taunted him with graffiti depicting a large lipped figure with a bone in the hair, while co-workers frequently called him N-word and other epithets in English and Spanish. Excuse me. Racial discrimination, sex harassment, and retaliations inside of SoCal's Powerful Water Agency. Another article. Warehouse and factories are not the only targets. In the last 5 years, a swath of California employees, including UCLA Hospital, Central Valley Vegetable Farm, a San Diego College, and a Riverside County skilled nursing facility have faced lawsuits over harassment and discrimination against black employees by Latino coworkers and supervisors. Lawsuits also target hiring policies. In the last 3 years, two large Latino owned businesses, Fresno Ice Maker and a San Jose cheese manufacturer, factories in California and 8 other states, and paid settlements after EOC investigations led they refused to employ non-Latinos. 6 million Americans identify as Afro-Latino. Man, how long is this? Bitch, I'm almost to the bottom. Wasn't trying to make it this long, but I don't went this far. I might well finish reading the whole article. 6 million Americans identify as Afro-Latinos. 12% of adult Latino population, and they are more likely than non-black Latinos to experience discrimination, according to proof study this year. While other black workers at Carter and Ryder said they understood just a few Spanish slangs, and in some cases none. Barry Bryan, 41, son of Puerto Rican father and African American mother, took in much more as he worked at Cardinal Health. The nickname for me was Pinche Miyate, fucking Junebug, he said. The first time I heard it, I almost snapped. Supervisor would call to him, "Hey Negrato, black boy." I'd say, "Dude, my name is Barry." Latinos 2 feet from his workstation chatted Spanish about black people, saying, "Why is their hair so funky and nasty? They smell because they're black," he said. It was just vile. Like Simmons, Brian had been hired by Apple One to drive a cherry picker, but despite his having 3 certifications for the job, again, I'm not gonna say it again. He was regulated to manual labor on the loading dock. He asked a Latino supervisor, When he would get to drive, he laughed and said, "Trust me, never." Damn.
I'm Eileen, and I'm a content creator and entrepreneur at Lavender. I began using Adobe Premiere Pro.
They would call you everything else but your name. They would just make sure that they knew that they were belittling you and that you knew it. And it was more them than it wasn't you. And if you spoke up, you were either not going to have a job or you were going to have to find some way to deal with it until you found another job on your own. Nothing ever came from anybody Caucasian, white. Nothing came from anybody in your own race. It was, you sat with your own, you dealt with your own because it was more, they didn't want to deal with you. And I can only chalk that up to they were looking out for each other.
Man, y'all niggas seem real soft, bro. I understand that pain, but you and this other lady, y'all keep like when niggas discriminate against me. It enraged me. It ain't make me want to cry. It make me want to fuck somebody up. After Brian filed written grievances with Cardinal Apple One over N-word harassment and news graffiti, a Latino HR official responded, "Man, are you actually doing work or just busy about the gossip?" He said. "Man, fuck you, nigga." Oh, I guess we at the end of the article finally. Days after Bryant's last complaint, the HR official told him as he arrived at work that Apple One assignments, including his, were ended. And then she waved in four non-black Latinos he had just seen at Apple One's office, he said. Recounting his experience, Bryant wiped his eyes. "Carter made me feel worthless," he said. "Today, Bryant is on disability with kidney disease, cared for by his Mexican-American girlfriend, a postal worker." Nigga, you ain't learn. Nigga, you ain't learn. All y'all niggas ain't shit, bro. That's what the black women be talking about. All this abuse you got from them, you still get one of them instead of your own kind. You niggas ain't shit. As for the EOC settlement, it would be nice financially if something did fall my way, he said, but mainly he hopes his former co-workers and managers will be retrained, and taught how to be human beings more than anything. I'm gonna end this right here. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for the article. Um, Hit that like, subscribe, become part of the kingdom.